What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've had a number of requests from subscribers to do videos where you learn a little bit more about me. And that gave me an idea to put together a little series of videos sharing my favorite things with you guys. I'm going to call this series a little bit about me, and we're going to be talking about 5 things that are my favorite in a bunch of different areas. And today, obviously, because this is a martial arts channel, we're going to focus on my 5 favorite martial arts movies. One of the things that I noticed in the past when I had iconic fighters that I followed is I just wanted to learn a lot about them. I wanted to know what their interests were, what their favorite things were. So I think this series will be really exciting because I can share with you things that really get me pumped up. We can do my 5 favorite workout songs, my 5 favorite martial arts movies, my 5 favorite regular movies, my 5 favorite foods. The list can go on and on. We can have some fun with it. You guys can throw down in the comments if you can think of something different than I listed out today, which you would like to know about me. And I just think it's going to be a blast doing this because obviously when we have our favorite things, we're super passionate about that. Now, I don't expect everybody on the channel to share the exact same interests that I have, or for example, even agree today with my 5 favorite martial arts videos or movies, but that's the point of the whole thing. Everybody has their interests, and it's just really fun learning more about people you know, and obviously for me, sharing what I really love. So let's start off with my first favorite martial arts movie. These are not in any specific order, I just love all of these. And the first one for me is Karate Kid. This is obviously an iconic martial arts movie that pretty much everybody knows. Obviously, I am talking about the original one, not the remake, which I tried to watch and turned off very quickly. But this was a movie that I grew up watching. I guess this probably came out in the mid 80s. I was probably watching this in the early 90s, but something that I really enjoyed watching as a youth, and now going forward, I still like going back and watching it, especially with the resurgence of Karate Kid interest with the TV show Cobra Kai. Now, in particular, what I really like about this original Karate Kid is, some of the, the wax on, wax off stuff. Maybe that's not very realistic, but the fight scenes at the karate tournament were actually decently legit. Not the ones maybe that Daniel LaRusso was fighting in, but a lot of the other fights that actually had legit competitors, people who were actually busting out high-level moves. And even with that in mind, the actors who are starring in the film look like they actually put in some real time learning some martial arts. I see so many movies nowadays where people go in, they star as a fighter or whatever martial art they're portraying, and they just got no skills. So props to the stars of this show for learning at least a little bit. And how do I go about assessing if one of these movies is my favorite? Well, I'm not judging based on the quality of the movie. I am going, what are my favorite films? I judge on the number of times I've watched them. How interested am I in going back and reviewing these films? So Karate Kid is something which I've watched 100% more than once, probably more like 10 or 15 times since I was like 6 years old. From here, movie number 2, we are talking about a Jean-Claude Van Damme classic, Bloodsport. Van Damme is one of the reasons I was so interested in learning martial arts. I saw these films, saw him executing that jump split kick, which is so iconic with his name, and he just got me pumped up to go to the gym and train when I was around 13, 14, 15 years old. I wanted to be able to throw all the kicks like him, and at one point I actually could. But then I started changing into kickboxing, and I had to change up the style of my kicks because the pitter-patter stuff just does not work in a real fight sport with full contact. But nonetheless, this movie is just something which I love watching. Again, I've gone back and repeatedly watched it, and I just have a blast every time. And I really like the aspect of different fight styles going up against one another to see which one is the strongest. They actually have somebody in this film representing Muay Thai, a guy who was actually a real fighter. Now, I don't know what his actual skill level was, if he was a real legit world champion like somebody like John Wayne Parr, or if he's somebody who did pretty well but not crazy good. But either way, he looks like he has a good enough skill level to portray Muay Thai, and I just thought it was a very cool aspect of the film, seeing all these different styles face one another. Now, I know in this list there's going to be some controversy about is that a martial arts film or not, but the next one that I'm going to bring up is Rocky 3. Now, some people might go, it's a boxing film, not a martial arts film, but in my opinion, boxing is a martial art. Why would I pick Rocky 3 over Rocky 1, which I believe won an Oscar and is an iconic film? Well, like I said, it's all about me going back and watching the film over and over and over. How many times have I watched it? I've gone back and watched the original Rocky a couple times, but Rocky 3 when I was younger, like 14, 15, 16, my training buddies and I would rewatch this all the time because it got us super motivated and pumped to get into the gym and do our training sessions. We love the music, we love the training montages, and I really like the comeback that Rocky has to make, losing out in the first fight against Clubber Lang, because he was not training hard enough, because he was letting fame go to his head and then reversing it, going back to his old school roots. It's something that's always kind of stuck with me. And, I know that yes, I could go out and look for big fancy gyms, big fancy trainers, but I go, what's working for me is working, and I'm going to stay to my original roots and just, stay in my small town Victoria, use the guys I've always used to help me prep for fights. Something that I learned from Rocky 3. Next up in movie number 4, we are talking about Kung Fu Panda. If you don't already know this about me, I really love animated movies, and they're actually something which I watch a lot of on fight week as I'm prepping up for that big bout coming and I'm getting those nerves. I find the animated movies are just very relaxed. The humor is just very childlike, obviously, and it just calms me down. And interestingly, Kung Fu Panda is something which is part of my fight routine. I watch it every fight day. I do not miss. I wake up in the morning and I do my normal stuff, eat my food, stretch out, sort of mentally get ready. I take a nap after breakfast, and then I watch Kung Fu Panda. It's not like I sit there and actually watch it in its entirety, but it's on, it's in the background. Maybe some other times I'm doing other things, but it's part of my routine. And I love this movie. There are so many good little messages in there about martial arts and being a better person. And of all the martial arts movies, because of the number of times I've fought, I've actually watched this the most, or at least had it on in the background the most. Just a great fun martial arts film, which I absolutely adore, even though you guys might think it's ridiculous. And finally, the number 1 movie. This one is probably actually my favorite. I said there wasn't really going to be a list, but I do believe this is actually my favorite. We are talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, why is this a movie that I've watched over and over, and why is it so near and dear to my heart? Well, I know that when I was something like 6, 7, 8, we were so into Ninja Turtles, and I think it's actually one of the reasons that I started martial arts. Obviously, my dad really wanted to get us into it so that we could get our black belt and he could know we would be safe as we got older. But I've heard stories when I was younger that we had Ninja Turtle stuffed animals and we would grab them, my brother and I, and we would fight each other with these stuffed animals. And apparently, to my mom's dismay, we just loved the turtles. And she didn't want us to get into that fighting sort of attitude. I think she wanted us a little calmer, a little bit more chill, not worried about getting violent. But we absolutely loved it. It was part of our childhood. And then as we got older and older, and I just stuck to that movie, still enjoy it, still probably watch it once every couple years, and it always puts a smile on my face. And yes, some of the fight scenes are ridiculous. Some of the times where somebody runs up behind and the guy's like bang and knocks him out. But the guys who are in the suits actually have some real skills. They actually look legit. And again, there are so many good messages in this movie related to martial arts and the type of person that you should be. Plus, it's always fun to kind of go, okay, which turtle would I be? I would be 100% Leonardo. Just very serious, very focused, kind of the leader of whatever I'm doing in a little bit of a sense. So it's just fun to do that as well when you look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I want to throw out some honorable mentions for movies that I like in the martial arts industry, which are not in my top 5 because there are so many great ones. And a lot of you guys are probably going, Gabriel, you haven't listed a Bruce Lee movie yet. What the heck is going on? But I gotta be honest, I have only watched a couple Bruce Lee movies throughout the years and they never really stuck with me for some reason. I loved martial arts movies when I was growing up. I was just engulfed in that martial arts lifestyle when I was kind of 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. But those movies just never grabbed me. Can't tell you why. but why they're not on the list. But a couple honorable mentions. One is Best of the Best with Eric Roberts. I believe that's Julia Roberts' brother, less famous of the siblings, obviously, but it's a martial arts movie about 5 top-level fighters from the States going up against 5 top-level fighters, I believe from Korea, South Korea, North Korea, I can't remember, but it was just an actual real good, fun experience to watch these guys face off, the training that they go through, preparing as teams, and just all the psychological warfare of going in against an opponent who's really scary, because that's part of the storyline. In addition to this one, I really like District B13. It's a French film where they have some great martial arts, a lot of parkour. There might be a little bit of argument on whether this is 100% a martial arts movie, but there's great fight scenes in it, crazy amount of amazing action, and the film being in a different language didn't bother me whatsoever. And then obviously one more shout out to Kickboxer, which does not go in my top 5, but was still a film which I really, really loved. And that's it, guys. That is the end of this episode, my 5 favorite martial arts films. Let me know what yours are down below in the comments. Again, you can also let me know what you want me to focus on for the next episode. I'm thinking my 5 favorite workout tunes, because everybody who works out just loves having something in the background to give them that extra motivation. I am somebody who loves to have the music going when I do my runs, my pad work, pretty much anything. If I find that song which pops on and it just drives me to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, it goes in my top 5. So I will probably do that one next. If you have your own suggestions, down in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, you like the series, please give it a like. If you have not already, join the channel, get subscribed. Train hard, guys, and I will see you back here soon for another episode.